The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome to History Island, celebrating the rich history of Long Island.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to History Island on 103.9 LI News Radio. And I'm Dale, your host. So, everybody, we're getting towards spring now, and although it sure doesn't feel like it today. Tonight it's supposed to go down to 30 degrees, but we'll all be taking these winter coats off and going out and enjoying the nice weather on Long Island. So we'll be glad, of course, to direct you to some great things that are happening on Long Island and some great places to go. Anyway, I just want to let you know that we're glad to be back. We're hoping good wishes for the New York Islanders because sometimes we get a little preempted by them, and they're heading for the playoffs. So let's see what's going to wind up happening. We don't really know. But changing coaches, a couple of changes over on the team there, and off we go. So anyway, we have a very special show for you tonight, and we have a couple of guests with us, friends of ours for a long time, and they're great people. Kevin Mann and Aida Mann from the Hope Children's Fund. And they're our special guests tonight. They've been on before, and we'll talk a little about the Hope Children's Funds. So how are you two doing tonight? How are you doing, Kevin?
We're doing wonderfully well.
Oh, good, good. So for our guests who might not have heard you were on the year before last, let's tell everybody a little bit about the Hope Children's Fund.
So Hope Children's Fund was, our orphanage was opened in 2005. We actually started the charity in 1999. We currently house and educate 87 orphans in Kenya, and we're 100% volunteer. It's our 21st year of operation, and we're very happy with the results. Not all of our children have been successful and productive adults, but given the fact that most of the kids come off the streets, we're very, very pleased with the results of the children and how well they've done in school, and have gone on to productive adulthood lives, married, children, occupations. So we're very, very proud of the success that they've had.
Oh, yeah, and in a poor area like Kenya, that's quite an accomplishment, actually, to make that much progress with everybody. What eventually got you involved in this effort?
Well, I got involved in 1999 when the fellow who eventually co-founded Hope Children's Fund was a Kenyan educator. He was a headmaster at a school, and the AIDS pandemic hit Kenya, and the attendance at his school went down about 70%. So he's trying to figure out a way to get kids back to school, so he started a feeding program, realized that was a temporary solution, and decided to pitch the idea. He came to the United States. His friend actually had a trucking business, had a truck, and unfortunately he passed away from AIDS. And he left Joseph the truck. Joseph sold the truck and bought a ticket to the States to pitch the idea of doing an orphanage. And I met with Joseph and some young people and decided that we should try and make it happen. So it happened.
Yeah, so off it goes, right?
Wow.
And God bless you, because it's all volunteer organization. So it's not like where you could watch some TV show about helping the orphans in this country and there's big executives taking a $150,000 paycheck. You guys really do the work, and you don't. It doesn't cost them any money. It's all volunteer.
That's indeed true. We're 100% volunteer, although we do have 17 employees in Kenya to take care of the children. But our about $150,000 executive, our entire budget for last year was about $107,000. And that's sending 45 kids to post-secondary school, education, food, clothing, 17 employees, running 32 acres of a farm, and a bus. So we're very frugal with the donations we get.
Yes, I can totally understand that. And I know over the years you've had some great volunteers. Obviously, I met you guys a long time ago when my own niece, Danielle Garofalo, volunteered. And she went over to Kenya with you, right?
She went a number of times with us, yeah. So, Danielle was a Danielle Garofalo-Fritchen was a volunteer for Hope Children's Fund for more than half of her life.
Yeah.
She started at 16, and she had 18 years as a volunteer before she passed. So more than half of her life she was a volunteer for Hope Children's Fund, and left a lasting image with everybody that she worked with.
Well, I think Danielle did that with everybody that she knew.
Right.
As my niece, she was the bright spot of the family, although it's a great family. And she unfortunately passed from cancer, and but she dedicated a lot of her life to this effort.
Right.
And
So-
I know she did some great painting of murals and things over there when she was there, right?
Right. So every morning in the dining hall, every child, when they get their breakfast, when they get their lunch, when they get their dinner, stands in front of the mural that Danielle painted called "Education is the Key," which is a giant key with all the different academic areas. And that has withstood the test of time and looks just as beautiful as it did when she first did it. So that's the first thing that the children see, and it is the motto of the orphanage as well. So our focus is 100%. Like I said, we're not a school, we're a home. And we send our children to 26 educational institutions right now. So it's a little bit of a difficult time every trimester getting kids back to school. If people know about getting kids back to college, those kinds of things, send one kid to a school. Picture 26 different schools. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
our director Veronica Karimi does a wonderful job of getting all those kids situated. So
Hey, listen, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk more about this after the break. You are listening to History Island on 103.9 FM, LI News Radio. And come on back, we got a lot more to talk about. But our main focus tonight is we got two really great return guests on, our friends Kevin and Aida Mann. They run the Hope Children's Fund. And so anyway, as you were saying, Kevin, before we got to the break, well, what was your last subject? I forget now what you were talking about.
new initiative we're doing with Rotary. I'm a Rotarian as well. So the international project for Rocky Point Rotary Club is Hope Children's Fund. So one of the things we're trying to do is we're working with Meru Rotary, the Rotary Club in Meru, on trying to open up a technical training center called the Matovich Center, which will train children in skills that they can get jobs when they're done. So we have a cooperation with Kyoto Technical Training Center, and we're going to be offering cosmetology and tailoring, and we're also going to be offering training in farming for some of the orphans, since we were hoping that some of the orphans will take over our 32 acres of farming. So the actual title of the program is called Providing Sound Minds and Bodies, and the premise is that we'll provide extra protein for the children's diet through the farms, and also provide people with an occupation after they go through the technical training. So it's a very exciting initiative. We'll be doing the paperwork and applying to Rotary International for it, and hopefully within a year we'll be able to open up the technical training center and provide somewhere between 10 and 12 children with training for them to actually become professionals in those areas of tailoring and cosmetology.
Oh, that's wonderful, and that will help the whole effort. And it'll definitely make things work better, a little more affordable, too, I would think, to have people work in the farm and bringing a little more food and sustenance into the whole program, right?
Yeah. Well, the idea is that some of the children, some of the boys particularly, are interested in going into farming, so we're going to train them in agriculture so they can work at our farm, but also can go anyplace else in the country and get agricultural jobs when they want. So we'll give them some flexibility in terms of employment. We send a number of our students to universities and colleges, but not all children are ready for that, or that's their occupational choice.
Right.
So some children link more towards technical training schools. But this is a new initiative that will really provide a building that we rebuilt ourselves. And now we're going to try and have open. It was a dream of Joseph Karima's starting in 2009 to do this project. And so we've been trying since 2009 to make this happen, but we're thick-headed and we'll get it done. But the process of getting all the paperwork done through Rotary International, we'll have partners from District 7255, which is the district that covers Long Island for Rotary, and also Rotary International. So depending on how much funding we can take in, we'll get an 80% match from Rotary International, so we'll be almost able to double our funds.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
Yeah. So we're hoping to have a really full tailoring studio, as well as a both male and female cosmetology section. So the students will be trained in nails, hair, and cosmetics. So they'll be one of the things that is fairly consistent, and in Kenya is definitely true, is that women have their hair done and impeccably done, and they have their nails done and impeccably done. Even if they're working in the fields, their hair and their nails are just done proper. So it is something that is actually an occupation where they'll be able to get employment as well. So very excited about the possibility, and it's a lot of hard work to get there, but we'll get it done.
Oh, it sounds like a really necessary thing to be living in that country, which, of course, to a lot of us Americans is foreign what the culture is really like there. I know that these kids, they really, really needed the orphanage, and it's really saved their lives.
Right.
So now you can kind of turn their lives around and help them have a good career. That's what we love about the organization.
Right. So, I mean, we just got back we took 15 volunteers with us this time, and we just got back, and one of the things that the volunteers, all adults this time, starting at the age of 23, struggled with is that as we drive through downtown Meru, there are 35 different hotels. And one of the hotels, Alba Hotel, where we actually met, Meru Rotary Club, could be a motel or hotel in Manhattan or right here on Long Island. And 100 yards away, there's a family living without running water and electricity. So that dichotomy does exist there.
I was going to say, how crazy is that,
So,
that's the way it is.
Right. So we actually, again, that dichotomy, almost second to second, we were picked up at Alba Hotel by one of our good friends, Vera Aria, who's the president of Meru Rotary, in a brand new 600 series BMW SUV.
Whoa.
And 30 seconds later, we were on a dirt road. So that kind of dichotomy is there all the time. But there is that tremendous difference between the push and pull of development and poverty and wealth and all that mixing together. It's very, very difficult for Americans to understand all those components at once. But we had a wonderful group of volunteers, and they bonded very well with the children, did lots of work. We had wonderful experiences until the last day, and the last day is always very difficult.
Oh, because
leaving is always hard.
Right.
Getting there and being there is wonderful. Leaving is always very, very difficult
I can
for
imagine.
both the travelers and the children, as my wife can attest to. Because we've had a mentee starting in 2007. Rispa, who is now 31 years old, married, and has a soon-to-be 3-year-old daughter, Keisha. And we've mentored her since 2007, but we also have another young lady named Gloria Kangai, who we've mentored since 2016. Mm-hmm. And we have not seen her since 2019. So when we last saw her, she was 12 years old. Now she's just about turned 20. So she's finishing up cosmetology, as it turns out. But leaving for her and my wife was particularly difficult. So that was a kind of, there's a waterfall not too far from the orphanage, but there was a waterfall on the bus with the two of them when they went to leave. So,
Oh, yes. You develop these relationships, right? And I can only imagine what that's like.
yeah. Well, it's one of the things that's amazing about the orphanage is that we found over the years we've taken people that, for whatever reason, a volunteer will end up just almost like magnetically hooking up with one of the children on a very, very special personal level.
Yeah, right.
And it's not orchestrated, it's a natural happening.
It just kind of happens.
Yeah. And so by the end of the 2 weeks, those relationships were really strong, to the point where they started talking about, being part of the family, that kind of stuff. So in the orphanage, all the children call each other brothers and sisters. And they fight like cats and dogs, brothers and sisters do. Unless somebody else goes near their brother and sister, then they defend them to the end of the world. They're just like regular family.
Just like a family. Yeah, right.
But it's one of the book titles we're kind of working on, book in progress, is I've got 87 brothers and sisters. So
that's pretty neat. Yeah.
We're in the process of doing some rough work with that, and we've done all the biographies and all the interviews of the children. So it's a very interesting situation, and watching the children blossom and going off to university and Soon we'll have our first lawyer. Edith Kanana will finish law school at Mount Canyon University. She'll be our first barrister lawyer. We've got Doreen Gatwari, who's an OBGYN. We've got a pharmacist, Jane Menwa, who this time, we actually had visitors from University of Michigan Pharmacy School in Kenya the same time we were there. And we actually had the pharmacy students from Michigan go visit Jane at her pharmacy. And because they had not visited a Kenyan pharmacy, they'd just gone to hospitals.
Right.
So it's very interesting because in Kenya, the pharmacist can write scripts for almost anything. So what we have, you go to a doctor here to write a script, most of those scripts can be written by the pharmacist. So the pharmacist has a lot more leeway. So she was able to sell the kids from University of Michigan lots of pharmacy stuff that they took back home to Michigan that they could not buy over the counter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here, but they could buy it there.
They could buy it there.
Yeah,
right.
so it was a win-win for both sides.
Oh, that's pretty neat. It's hard to imagine the differences in the countries that most Americans couldn't understand that, because our pharmacies here are a lot stricter, basically, with what they give out, and doctors have to really prescribe it for it to happen.
Right. Well, one of the reasons for that in Kenya is there's a tremendous lack of doctors. So there aren't doctors to go to. So,
yeah, right.
So the pharmacist has a much larger role in the community than a pharmacist would here. But it's a very interesting, again, the dichotomy of the culture is what always strikes people. And what's interesting about it for us, seeing the volunteers, we talk about the aha moment when we take volunteers, when you just look in their eyes and you know that they got it.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
They fully understand. And they also understand how different Kenyan culture is than our culture. So, I mean, one of the stories that I always tell about the differences is the people where we work, they're called Marians, and they speak a language called Kimeru. It's a very local dialect of only about 1 million speakers. But they believe that they're the lost tribe of Israel. And their belief is they came across the Red Sea through Ethiopia, eventually to Kenya and to Mount Kenya. And in their belief system, one of the things that kind of morphed along the way is they circumcise boys at age 13, which is kind of hard for many people to deal with. But that is their cultural tradition.
Right.
So I've actually had to go to schools to speak to headmasters about the kid's not ducking school. He's really home, and he has to be home because he's just been circumcised. So,
Right.
but it's tremendous cultural differences and similarities, of course. But it's really an experience when we take people there. When they come back, they're in some ways forever changed because their perspective is so much different. The one thing that my wife always points out is that Americans are always very, very interested in understanding why kids who have nothing can be so happy.
Yeah.
And that's very hard for Americans who are very materialistic and consumer-based to deal with. But the children, if you give them one thing, they're super happy, and that stays with them. And they're not materialistic, so if you give one child something and the other child needs it, they just share.
Okay, and on that note, let's take another break while the radio station makes some money. You're listening to LI News Radio, History Island on 103.9 FM. I'm Dale, your host. We'll be right back. Themselves. We have more, but let's go back to Kevin and Ida Mann and what they have to talk about with this amazing charity, the Hope Children's Fund, and the orphanage in Kenya. Does the orphanage have an actual name?
Well, yes, it does. But the actual name is called Jerusha Mararia Hope Children's Fund Home. So
okay.
Jerusha Mararia was the wife of the finance minister of Kenya, the first Marian person ever serve in the cabinet there. And she passed away, and he made a donation in her name to actually help build the orphanage. So that's where the name comes from. So yeah, he was the first of the Marian ethnic group to serve in the cabinet of Kenya. So the home is actually named after her. But nobody refers to it as Jerusha Mararia. They just call it the home on the hill. We're on a 300-foot hill with a dirt road leading up to it. So it's very interesting to get to it. Cars, trucks, buses have trouble getting up. Most of the people use what's called, we call them suicide motorcycles, taxis. They call them boda there. There people take 1, 2, 3, 4 people on a motorcycle taxi and drive around town. It's the cheapest and easiest way to go around town. But yeah, it's called Jerusalem area. That's the actual official title.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. Now, we would fail to be complete in our coverage of this if we talk just about you, Kevin. How about let's talk about one of the people that I know as kind of the spirit of the situation, and that's Ida Mann. And how are you doing tonight?
I am well, thank you.
Yeah, good. So I know that the two of you do this effort every year, and that you're very important to the relationships with the people that you have over there. I've heard so much about it.
Well, they're just, they don't have any expectations, and whatever you do for them, they make you feel like you've done so much. The children are just looking for someone to talk specifically to them, because that amount of children, you have what they call aunties, who are the house mothers and stuff, but they don't have the time to sit individually with them. So it becomes difficult. So when we go and they see, we'll play games with them, musical chairs or God, Duck, Duck, Goose, and they just love it. They love it. So they're very easy to entertain.
Right. And I think it's a human thing. Everybody loves doing something good and having fun doing it. And that's an important part of our soul and our personality and who we actually are.
That's right.
So, I can't say enough about that.
Yeah.
And these two amazing people have done so much work with this organization over the years that you just can't describe it. And
Thank you.
my niece Danielle told me so much about the organization before I ever even met them and what the work that it does over there. So, God bless you two for doing that. Let me ask you a question. Are you always looking for, I know you did your gala last month, right? And raised money for the organization. You want to tell me just a little bit about that?
Well, this was our 8th annual gala. It's named after Douglas McDonough, who was our longtime secretary. Douglas was actually a fellow who became a paraplegic at the age of 19 due to a car accident, and never let any of that get in the way. He actually went on to be a middle school BOCES teacher. And for those of you who know education on Long Island, BOCES is where in the middle school is where they send children that they've run out of options in their home district for.
Yeah.
But he was able to work with those children and actually have them set up Salvation Army stores and work in actual businesses. An amazing educator. And he passed away at the age of 69, so the gala is actually named in his honor. So the gala this year brought together 128 people. We had a cocktail hour with 15 Celtic musicians called the Grafton Street Players, which is really nice. And then we transitioned to the main part of the program with a live band called 20 Highview. All kinds of raffles and wine tossing and all kinds of things going on. And the focus was on being a party to celebrate all accomplishments we've been able to do over the years. And very happy with that. And it also provides about half of the tuition money that we spend in the year to send kids to school.
Wow, that's a big effort. Wow.
So without that money, one of the things we can do with the money from the gala is the children take a national test to go into the secondary school, university, college, those kinds of things. But the better they do on the test, the better the school that they can qualify for. Mm-hmm. Much like the SATs would be here, only it's the only test, the only thing that matters. So some of our children, one girl in particular scored very well on the national exam, so now she's going to go to a pretty good school. The pretty good school also has a pretty good tuition. So
right.
But not from our. So our most expensive student is the young lady Edith Kanan at law school, but law school costs $3,000 a year.
Whoa.
So that's not even books at our law schools here.
That's just what it costs a year to go, right? Tuition, right?
So, but yeah. So when we travel, one of the things that my wife in Kenya is called Mama America, and that she's rarely ever walking around without one or two children stuffed under her arms and chin. And it's over the years, she's got to know some of the children from when they were 5. Now they're 21.
Wow.
So it's interesting to be able to see that growth in the relationship over time. So
It's like having a new family members. Like I said, you're the heart and soul of the organization, Mama, and so we appreciate your effort too.
Thank you, thank you.
Now you're doing another event soon. They're part of the Michael Murphy Run, right? The 4K
well,
run.
we're a recipient of the Michael Murphy Run, which is the run around the lake. We're also doing our own, which is actually the 22nd one. We do a 5K run simultaneously, Americans against Kenyans. This is the 22nd year we've done that. The first year the Americans won both the male and female race. And the second year the Kenyans discovered that happened. And since then, there haven't been any winners on the American side.
Because Kenyans are good runners to begin
Well,
with.
it's a great source of national pride to Kenyans, long distance running, and 5K is just like a warm up for people. But the Kenyans also run back and forth to school. Our youngest children go to a school about a half mile away from the orphanage, and they come home for tea in the middle of the day. And they run from up the hill, and then they run back to school, and they run back again, and they run back again. It's just what they do.
Yeah, right.
So it's kind of the national hobby as well. But that we're doing that one in October this year, just around the Halloween season. So it's actually going to be pumpkins and all that kind of stuff as well. So we actually run that one on the local what used to be called the local right-of-way, which is the old train line.
Yeah, right.
In Wading River. So that's kind of a fun run. We'll do that on October 17th. And we're always looking for people to participate in that because it's, one, it brings them in so they can learn more about the organization. Also, it's a source of funding, so it's fun. It's a fun event. It's just a 5K run, but it's fun.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you to volunteer, to donate, to do anything like that, where is the best place to get in touch
All right,
with
so
you?
the two best places, our website is hopechildrensfund.org. You'll find in the video section, we just did a documentary film of our last visit. 15 minutes is on there. It's pretty impressive. But they can also just call me at 631-566-2277, and I'll be more than happy to entertain any questions they have. And that's really the way we've gotten all of our volunteers, by word of mouth and talking to people. We'll be doing some craft shows from the crafts we brought back from Kenya. We've since 2007, we've sponsored the Meru Women's Cooperative. It's a group of 29 women that produce crafts. So we buy their crafts. We pay them 5 times more than they get locally. We bring them to the States. We sell them. We use the money for tuition. Their kids now go to school with that, too. So it's a kind of win-win there as well. So it's
Right, like a couple of the items we have at home, which we bought from you when we run into you at the Great South Bay Music Festival.
We'll
right?
be there again this summer, and
Right.
we're actually going to be at Smithtown Historical Society on May 23rd and 24th. Those are, we market the crafts there. The real reason we market the crafts is if we don't sell the crafts, the women can't produce more crafts, and then they can't send their kids to school. So that's really why we do it. But it's also for networking.
Right.
And that's where many of our volunteers have come from those kind of casual conversations about crafts.
Oh, okay. So you want to one more time repeat that phone number and website for us?
Sure. So the website is hopechildrensfund.org, and the phone number is 631-566-2277.
Oh, very good. Now, if you want to get involved with a great organization and do some really good work to help your fellow man on this planet, which is what it's really all about, get in touch with them because they're great people and they run a great organization. And no mistake, you do this all at your own expense, no salary for this effort, right?
That is correct. As a matter of fact, the bylaws of Hope Children's Fund require that we are not allowed to even take a meal at the expense of Hope Children's Fund.
Oh, wow.
So all 15 of those volunteers donated, when they went to Kenya, donated their time, their talents, and their money to go.
Yeah.
They were all required to take one bag of donations over and one bag of crafts back, which they did. Yeah, they, besides giving up their time, they dropped between $2,500 to $3,000 just to
Just
be
to
part
go
of the
and
experience.
be
Yeah.
part of this
Right.
experience,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And we see the benefit of that at the Great South Bay Music Festival. They always give you guys a table. And we bought a few items over there. We love it. It's a great thing. How often do you go to Kenya? Once a year?
Well, with COVID, we had a break.
Oh yeah, everybody had a break,
So,
unfortunately.
yeah, we've gone 11 times now. So the last 3 times were 2016, 2019, and this year. So we had about a 7-year break between COVID, and my wife had a couple of medical things that we had to address. But we're already planning a 2027 trip, probably in April. And my wife, of course, has got her full medical clearance.
Good. That's an important thing to have if you're going to do a trip like
Because
that.
my wife was the first woman in New York State to have a new medical procedure for brain aneurysms
Oh.
with a non-FDA approved device, which she's in the study to get approved. But she had a major brain aneurysm that they operated on non-invasively, and she's got 100% clearance, and she's perfectly okay now.
Well, of course, because you work.
She still can't play the piano, but
Oh, damn. But maybe she can sing better now, right? Well, that's important because, you people are so important what you're doing. The fact is to have God on your side to help you get better and heal up and do that work is an important thing for everybody. You've changed the picture over in that country, and you've changed, the whole picture of this effort. So if anybody wants to get involved with a really, really good thing, give these people a call and get involved.
thank you very much.
Yeah, so we're almost out of time. So anything you want to say wrapping up?
No, just, we're very happy to be able to help a small group of children, and again, follow them, along to adulthood. And it's very, very interesting that, we do a lot of work through Rotary, we do a lot of work with organizations and children here. And oftentimes people say to us, well, why do you help kids in Kenya? So we don't differentiate whether they're Kenyan kids or kids here, they're just kids.
People are people that
And
when
they're
they need
born in
help.
different circumstances by accident of birth, they deserve the same opportunities and the same options. So that's what we try and provide.
Well, God bless you too. Thanks for coming on. We'll have you back on again soon. Talk about all the events that are going on. And all I can say personally from me and Janet is God bless you for the work you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
And you are listening to History Allen on 103.9 FM, LI News Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.